Yes. Welcome to Balloon Party 101 ESPN. It's a program presented to you by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, Timothy, Michael, McKernan, Jackson, Bennett, Burkett with you. The Colonel, Gabriel P. DeArmond, is going to get us ready for Missouri, Alabama. He's going to join us, brought to you by James Carlton at 10:15. Jackson wants to relive Bronny's one rebound from a couple nights ago, but I won't have it because the Blues went up to Toronto and schooled the Leafs 5-1.
How do you do?
How do you do, Jordan Kyrou?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
I tried to.
Hold on a second. Can I have a conversation? I was going to turn to the wall and have a conversation about the game, but looks like somebody's engaged.
Well, not much of a conversation.
Well, what were you watching?
A little bit of the hoop rock.
And there it is.
Kind of hanging out. But I did say before the game, I was like, maybe a little action on the Jordan Kyrou goal. Obviously, didn't score. He didn't score a goal, obviously.
Two assists,
second star. So he certainly had a great game.
The assist on the first goal.
Sick.
Do you know about it?
I like.
You've really seen it?
No, I like when you go Cockney though.
But you did say it was sick, so you're kind of lying to the audience right there.
Well, isn't any assist sick? Anything that helps out a goal?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, not really. This was pretty sick. This was like something. You ever play NHL 93 on Sega Genesis?
Is that the one where you can make someone's head bleed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lil Wayne, look, his head's bleeding. Swingers 1996.
Yeah.
I mean, the face-off stat, Jackson, which I know you brought in.
Face-off with Cage and Travolta?
No, the actual face-offs in the hockey game.
Got it.
That's going to be problematic with no Robert Thomas for the next 6 weeks. But here's Jordan Kyrou taking it deep behind the net. Spinorama. And then he passes the puck. The defenseman can't keep up. And then how do you do? 1-0 St. Louis Blues. Did you just leave? I don't know what's going on.
I had to grab my laptop. I'm sorry.
And then, with the second period underway, the Leafs with the strong push to start the period. Eventually they break through. Okay. Kind of saw it coming. Mm-hmm. That's fine. Let's not give up the ship, boys. And then there's Kyrou again, causing a little chaos behind the net with the St. Louisan, the netminder back there. And then, boom, here we go. That 2-1 lead becomes the most dangerous league in hockey, 3-1. And the Blues are able to pull away as Jakey, big mistakey, takes it and makes it 4-1. And then they get the empty netter. There was a little talk on the broadcast about possibility of Bennington trying to get a little goal at the end, since things were in a comfortable spot. Craig Berube pulling the netminder there with a 4-1 game. But either way, great way to start the 4-game road trip. Great way to start this stretch without Robert Thomas. Jordan Binnington, outstanding. Competitive as hell. Drew Bannister was talking about that after the game. I mean, hey, Hofer's been great, but Binnington's competitive. He wants to see his name in there, and he went out there and he proved it. But to me, Jordan Kyrou's kind of a sub-story throughout the course of the season anyway. He hasn't scored a goal since the opener in Seattle, but that's his 7th assist last night, 6 and 7. And Drew Bannister was raving about him. His teammates were raving about him following the game. That's a hell of a win. A number of guys played well. I mean, that was the game of the year to date. Here is Drew Bannister.
Even going back to last game, he's a team first player right now. He's playing team hockey. I was impressed with his game last game. I know the offense didn't come. We've talked about getting more pucks to the net. I thought I saw an effort today, but I just think he's playing team hockey. He wants to win hockey games, and he's doing whatever it takes right now to win hockey games. For the skill players, it's easy to get away from what the team wants to do and playing a North game and really dumbing it down. And here's a guy that's, using the wall to chip pucks. He gets over the red line if he doesn't have a play. If he can't drive it wide, he's putting it underneath. The goal in the second period, it's a forechecking goal. They get two guys, him and Bucci, forecheck, turnover, it's in the back of the net. They're doing things the right way. And it's winning hockey.
You always talk about Jordan Kyrou's forecheck now that Jamie Rivers explained to you what that is.
Yes, and now I have a clear understanding of what the forecheck is, and I think Kyrou's a guy you don't look to for the forecheck, but if he can include some of that in his game, maybe that'll open up things elsewhere, including goals.
I felt like inevitably you were about to use sandpaper in his game there, but that's more of a Foxa thing, right?
Foxa is kind of holds the authority on the sandpaper for the Blues, which he does great at. But if Jordan Kyrou can just get a little bit of that in his game, I mean, he's the X factor, is he not? Especially with Thomas going down. If you're going to want a good Blues season, it's got to come from Kyrou a little bit.
That's certainly the case, actually. In addition to something that we're noticing with this team is speed, but utilizing that speed. Every goal last night scored by a player who's 25 or younger, if my math is correct. And by the way, the return of Oscar Sundqvist, you saw that
Sunny.
Bearing fruits. So, in particular, on the second goal, where he was just in there, I think you said when you were watching the game, you texted me, man, he was really mucking and grinding.
Yeah, but that was what I was looking for with a comeback. You come back, maybe you're a little timid, but he was mucking and grinding, and that's just the kind of hockey player that Oscar Sundqvist is. He's the kind of guy we can get behind.
That's a hell of a win. The hell of a win.
After Robert Thomas goes down, that's
a hell of a
news.
Win.
And get a win like that against former coach.
When I was listening to Curbside Podcast, which I listen to, that's how I start my mornings after a Blues game. Good Morning Grant puts it together. Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. Vitale was back in the studio with Alexis Dat last night on Alexa Dat on television, but Cam Jansen, God bless Cam, was on the call with Kerber, and that's how I start my day. I recommend that podcast, Curbside Podcast. And Cam and Kerber were talking about, you start a road trip, 4-game road trip, plus you kind of got the buzzkill of Thomas being out for 6 weeks. Little pep in your step, kick in the ass to go out there and beat that team in that building. A lot of guys from that area. Do it in the fashion that you do it. And maybe you can get a little momentum going into taking on L'Habitant tomorrow, eh?
Why not? Anytime you can be the member of the original 6, you're feeling good.
You think so?
I think it's always a nice little feather in your cap.
Well, I guess a lot of people have felt good about their experiences with the Blackhawks as of late.
I can't tell if that's. I don't understand the reference. I know they're one of the original
Blackhawks
6.
have been warm garbage.
Yes.
They're one of the original 6.
Yes.
So, therefore, many teams have been beating them, and therefore they've been feeling good.
Yes.
It's like an SAT question.
Confirmed.
There it is. Jackson can confirm people have enjoyed their experiences with the Chicago Blackhawks. Gabe DeArmond's going to join us coming up here in a couple of minutes. What is the status of Brady Cook?
Yep.
You will find out what the Colonel thinks on the other side of the break. The spread started out with Alabama minus 13.5. It was at 16.5 last night.
Yep.
When I woke up, it was at 17. It's now Alabama minus 18.
Man.
What does Billy Walters know out there in Las Vegas?
Well, I mean, if anybody saw Drew Pine play last week, and you see
it was a meta play. They were setting up the Alabama defense. Take them lightly.
And you see the injury report, and it says Brady Cook doubtful.
It's Connor Wegman, Part 2, the remix album.
I don't blame people hammering anything under 20. I don't blame them, but I think Brady Cook will play.
I do have to tell you, I like Jalen Milroe over 41.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with the QB, so I would take that no matter what.
So just as a little. I gave you Texas, Georgia over last week. Did it hit?
No.
I gave you Missouri on the road against Texas A&M 3 weeks ago. Did it hit?
Depends on your book.
Yeah, if you were getting 31.5.
I think some, books were giving that 31.5.
My play now, Jalen Milroe over 41.5 rushing yards. Do with it what you want.
They count sacks. They count sacks.
Gabe DeArmond is going to join us on the other side of the break, brought to you by James Carlton. You are listening to Balloon Party, driven by Mungenast, St. Louis Acura, Mungenast, Burkhardt, Alton, Toyota on 101 ESPN. Welcome back to Balloon Party 101 ESPN. My name's Tim McKernan. That's Jackson Burkett. It's Friday. It's about 10:15. It's 10:17 to be exact. That's brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers at Time Check. And that means it's time to talk it over with this man, the Colonel, Gabriel P. DeArmond of PowerMizzou.com on the eve of Missouri at Alabama. Morning, Colonel.
Hey, a lot of people don't know that the P actually stands for Power Mizzou. So.
I did know that. I knew that was your confirmation name. That's correct. People don't know that. It's a fun fact.
Cool.
I'm going to go on the Tigers lair and post that today. Colonel, the spread started at 13.5. I went to bed last night. It was 16.5. I woke up. It was 17. I'm in the midst of entertaining millions of people on HD2 radio this morning, and I see it's gone up to 18. You have any insight as to what's going on with this number?
I guess it's just doubt that Brady Cook is going to play, or if he does, is going to be effective, which makes a lot of sense, honestly. Gerard and I just posted our predictions, and we both did a Brady Cook plays and is relatively okay prediction, and a Brady Cook either exits or doesn't play prediction, and they were both a little bit different.
Yeah, I am. I actually have that up right now on PowerMizzou.com. I think the mindset of a lot of people, I think this includes Missouri fans, but perhaps not Missouri fans, is that this is going to be a stomping. Now, I think Missouri fans are hopeful, but at the core kind of have a sense that this is going to be a stomping. But I also think part of the reason for that is the thought process, that is understandable, by the way, that Missouri is going in to play Alabama of 2009 through 2023. And the reality is this is an Alabama team that also has injuries, albeit more in their secondary, may have a situation with their quarterback as well, probably not to the extent of Brady Cook's, but Jalen Milroe has not played well, both mentally and physically over the last few games, and has their own issues that they're dealing with, in particular, the pressure now focused on the new head coach there. I was listening to your podcast with the Alabama 24/7 reporter this morning en route to the station, and he certainly conveyed a sense of some hesitation, I think, regarding tomorrow's game.
Yeah, the only people who I think don't think this is going to be a blowout are Alabama fans. I think a few things go into it. First of all, again, we don't know what Cook is going to be or if he's even available. That's part of it. The other time we saw Missouri on the road in the SEC, frankly, was a very unattractive football game. The difference between these two teams is I've seen Alabama's ceiling, and Alabama's ceiling is good enough to be blowing Georgia out through three quarters.
Yeah.
That counts for we haven't seen anything like that out of Missouri. Missouri's ceiling has been either beating a Vandy team that was better than we thought, or I don't know, probably would have beat Auburn comfortably with Brady Cook, but you don't have any proof of that necessarily. So I think you haven't consistently seen Alabama be typical Alabama, but typical Alabama is still in there somewhere, and so if that shows up, I don't think it much matters what Missouri does.
With regard to the Missouri offense, which has already struggled as it was with a healthy Brady Cook, a healthy Mookie Cooper, for that matter, he is out tomorrow, and that is in the SEC injury report. He is out. Nate Noel is still listed as doubtful, but that certainly is a problem because here's a guy who was a huge part of the comeback win against Vanderbilt. Who do you anticipate filling these roles? Obviously Marcus Carroll moves up in the depth chart and becomes the lead tailback. But as far as both at the running back spot and in the passing game, who do you think is somebody or some people that could get way more opportunity tomorrow at Alabama?
Yeah, at running back, everybody just slides up, and it's Carroll, then Jamal Roberts, and Kawan Lacey. And look, Nate Noel's had a good year, but running backs are largely replaceable, right? You are not replacing Derrick Henry here. You're replacing a good back with the other good back. So I don't think that's that big a deal. At receiver, I would assume with Mookie out that Josh Manning gets a lot more run. And Josh Manning, frankly, has looked really good. People have been, including myself, saying for 2 or 3 weeks he should be getting more time anyway. So we might find out a little bit about that. And then obviously, the quarterback, I mean, hey, if it's not Brady, it's Drew Pine. And I would expect, even if he doesn't start, I would expect to see Drew Pine at some point tomorrow, because I've seen guys play with this injury that Brady has, and chances are it's probably going to get hurt again if he plays.
You were talking on the podcast, you're a big Chiefs fan, as is apparently a bunch of people in St. Louis now, that Patrick Mahomes was dealing with the high ankle sprain and how it impacted his play, but he still played through it, right? And that's what we're operating, I'm operating the premise, don't want to put words in your mouth, that may be what Cook's dealing with.
Yeah, I mean, there was a video of Drinkwitz's speech in the locker room after the game where he said high ankle sprain. Right. Now, Eli isn't a doctor. Maybe he was just, I don't know. I would assume he knew at that point what the injury was, but I'm pretty confident that's the injury, especially when you look at the play and how he got hurt. And the thing about that is the only way it's just healthy is 4 to 6 weeks in a boot. That's it. You're not playing, you're not working out, you're not doing all these things. Now, I know Brady. I promise he has spent much more time in the training room than anywhere else on campus this week. He's doing everything he can. I would imagine there will be some more medicinal assistance prior to tomorrow's game to help him be able to play and manage it the best he can. But look, he's not going to be – you can't ask him to run. And, in fact – I mean, when Mahomes dealt with it, I know people get tired of me talking about this, but it's a direct comparison. When he dealt with it, it was he's not running. Oh, here's one play where he absolutely has to run, and he goes and does. Mm-hmm. It's like he had to save it up for that one play the entire game. And so that's kind of what Brady will have to do. And I would even tell him, if he's your starter, I would legitimately say, if you see pressure, either throw it in the general direction of somebody but throw it away, or just go down. Mm-hmm. We'd rather be in 2nd and 17 than having the backup trot out there. So, just do like was it Brett Favre when Reggie White was setting the NFL sack record? Just kind of laid down right in front. Just do that if you have to.
That's right. As a Strahan, I believe, in Favre with the lay down.
Strahan, you're right.
Gabe DeArmond with us. He joins us every Friday here on Balloon Party. He's presented to you by James Carlton. James Carlton's online at carltoninsurance.net. Missouri and Alabama tomorrow, 2:30 on ABC/ESPN networks for a game that really is an elimination game. Your guy from 24/7 agreed with that. Alabama would be looking at 3 losses. Some Missouri fans would go, why would they still be alive with 2 losses and Missouri wouldn't? I would say they beat Georgia, and they will have an opportunity.
They would be technically alive. Missouri would be. Alabama wouldn't be. Alabama's done if they lose.
If they have 3 losses. But they do have the win over Georgia. They would have a trip to Baton Rouge to still help their resume should that happen. Missouri, yes, perhaps technically alive, but they would need a lot of help if that were to happen. We have seen Missouri in a weird spot over the years, since joining the SEC in particular, Gabe, be the executioner for head coaches. I don't think Kalen DeBoer is at that point, but I also don't know if anybody has experienced the approval rating shift in a matter of 30 days that Missouri is facing with Kalen DeBoer, who was at an all-time high after beating Georgia a month ago and has since lost to Vanderbilt, nearly lost at home to South Carolina, and then lost to what might be, surprisingly to those of us outside of the state of Alabama, Alabama's more hated rival in Tennessee, at least per Nick Saban and some of the Alabama players. So with that all established, we're going to see a team that's going to respond in one way or another, and a head coach that's going to try to teach that team and have them execute to respond in one way or another tomorrow. I mean, this is very rare that Missouri could go down and take down one of the more storied programs in college football and end their season. And also, the trajectory for Kalen DeBoer in Tuscaloosa will be determined over the next 30 hours.
I don't really agree with that, to be quite honest, on DeBoer. I mean, look, they lost so many guys when Saban left. I mean, this was a brand new team. Coming into the year, Alabama was Alabama and they were up there, but I think this was regarded as more of a, they can make the playoff, but they're probably more 7 to 12 than they are 1 to 6. I didn't see a lot of people putting Bama in the Georgia, Oregon, Ohio State preseason discussion, or even the Texas discussion, to be quite honest. So, look, he had to know what was going to come with replacing the guy he replaced. It's why, frankly, I wouldn't have taken the job. I guess on one hand, you have to take it when the best program in college football says, do you want to be our coach? You say yes, but I might have waited 3 years and replaced the guy that replaced Nick Saban, and the other thing is even if Bama loses this game, the one at the end of the season that Bama fans talk about isn't going to be Missouri. I mean, it might be Missouri at home. Like, that's not great. But the one that sticks with him is Vanderbilt. Yeah. Fair or not. Even if this Vandy team is good, like a few years down the road, if he has not won a national title, going to be hadn't won a national title. No, by the way, remember when he lost to Vanderbilt? Now I think a lot of people forget too. Nick Saban's first year, he lost to Louisiana Monroe.
Yep. 2007.
So now Nick Saban was not taking over the program that Kalen DeBoer took over, and that's part of the problem. But I don't know. I think we tend to overreact to social media reaction to this, I'm sure Alabama fans are furious and not dealing with it well and all that, but they've still got every chance to get to 10-2 and get in the playoff. And yeah, they're probably not going to win the national title, but I don't know if Kalen DeBoer can do that. I don't really see any need to be talking about job security yet.
Yeah, and to be clear, I wasn't saying I think he's going to get fired. Right. But I think that if you have a loss to Missouri and Vanderbilt, and one of them's at home, before you even get to November, people who are already losing their minds might go, holy crap, this thing's off the rails. And one of the things, and this isn't really Alabama-centric, and I think I heard you and Gerard talking about it on the podcast. Yeah, I did. What happens when you're one of these programs, Florida State would be an example, but, in Oklahoma, where you had aspirations for the playoff, and then November rolls around and you're a guy who is expected to go in the draft. Do you see guys start to opt out, and what rosters look like as teams start to fall out of the playoff mix? What do you think we're going to see here over the next month?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to see it happen with some guys. And I mean, look, hey, there's a first-round draft pick on Missouri's roster, too. And I'm not saying that Luther would do that. I have absolutely no idea. I'm just saying if you are a guaranteed or a very likely first-round pick, they are going to have people in their ears saying, what are you doing, man? Don't risk this for the Music City Bowl or the Cheez-It Bowl or whatever. Now, the flip side of that is if you do that, what does an NFL GM think of it, right? Because doing it, with 4 games left is a little bit different than doing it just for the bowl game, which requires 15 extra practices and all that. But we'll see some of it in college football. I don't think – and even more than just opting out, I mean, I think what you would see is guys making some business decisions during games, right? Or guys – yeah, my hamstring's a little tender. I could probably go this weekend, but I don't know. We're playing South Carolina and we're 7-4 and they're 6-5, and what's really the point? So yeah, I think it's a fact. This is pro sports at this point.
One other prediction regarding November, with these conferences not having the divisions that they used to have. And I saw you write a little bit about this. Stuart Mandel wrote about this on The Athletic. I think we're staring down the barrel of some potential anarchy when it comes to conferences and tiebreakers and the playoff. Because so many teams who maybe people did not anticipate being in the spot that they're in heading into the final weekend in October record-wise are in the spot that they are in. What do you think about that, Gabe?
Well, I mean, I don't even know how to tell you who will be in these conference title games. I mean, there is, I don't think it's mathematically possible they can all finish 10-2, but there are 8 SEC teams that can still finish 10-2. And, if 5 of them finish 10-2, I have absolutely no idea how I guess you'd go with the college football playoff ranking eventually and go with the highest rank. But I think the bigger thing about these conference title games is who really wants to play in them. I mean, if you're BYU and Iowa State, let's say they both drop 1 somewhere along the way, and they're both 11-1 going into the Big 12 title game. I mean, yeah, you want to be in it because if you win, you're automatically in, but you're then looking at it, let's say BYU loses that game at 11-2, and yeah, you beat K-State at home and you beat SMU, but like you don't have a lot of marquee stuff on your resume, and then you're in consideration with 10-2 Penn State or 9-3 Georgia with the schedules they play, and you get left out because you got beat in your conference title game. And, it's a really tough spot because these games, I mean, we all know who's in charge of college football, and it's the TV networks, and they pay so much for these games that you can't see them going away. But I can't imagine that coaches and league administrators really want to play these games because, I mean, you could put yourself – I think both teams that make the SEC title game are guaranteed to be in. I think both teams that make the Big Ten title game are almost certainly guaranteed to be in, but I don't think that's the case in the ACC or the Big 12. Where I think it could cost you a spot. And let's say the SEC title game is, 11-1 Texas versus somebody that's 10-2, and let's say Texas wins that game, and all of a sudden the loser's 10-3 when there are three other teams that didn't have to play that are 10-2. To me, it makes sense. You shouldn't get penalized for playing an extra game, but that's never been the case. I mean, we've seen it here. 2007 cost Missouri an Orange Bowl spot by having to play in that game, even though they had just beaten Kansas. And you'd like to think it's a little bit different than it was then, but I don't know.
That's why I agree. I think it's going to be chaos, in particular with the Big 12 and ACC. I cannot imagine both SEC participants and both Big 10 participants being left out. I suppose Indiana could perhaps throw a curveball.
Right, like, what if Indiana's 11-1?
Right.
Their only really good win is Ohio State. They get blown out by Oregon, and they're sitting there 11-2. I don't know. That's
what I'm saying. That's where it can get awfully intriguing. Hence my prediction of anarchy. And I was listening to Roman Harper. He was on with Reese Davis on the College Game Day podcast, and he said, "I love Penn State. Number one, I think they're improved, but number two, they're probably going to wind up 11-1, and they'll get the 5 seed, and then that means they'll get to play the 12 seed, the group of 5, at home, and then they don't reseed, so then they would play the 4 seed, which is most likely the winner of Big 12." And you're getting Iowa State or BYU, you like your chances to get to the Final Four perhaps more than somebody else who's in a different spot, as weird as it is.
Well, and let's revisit that. Penn State's probably going to be 11-1 tomorrow evening.
You got Camp Randall causing problems for the Nittany Lions.
Jump around, Gabe.
And look, if they lose to Wisconsin and they get beat by Ohio State, what have they really done?
Shot at Illinois out of nowhere.
They're bad USC team.
ILL.
But those are the teams. Missouri fans are focused on the SEC teams as far as the playoff goes. But it's Penn State, it's Indiana, it's BYU, it's Iowa State, it's Kansas State. Those are the teams that you're looking at going, if Miami and Clemson could both get to 11-1, those are the teams that you look at and go, well, that's why I don't think Missouri can get in unless they go. I mean, I think at this point, I think they're in if they're 11-1 and out if they're anything else.
I share your opinion on that. Gabe DeArmond will have the post-game show tomorrow on PowerMizzou.com. You can watch it on YouTube, listen to it. It's recommended listening for college football fans. It's a tradition in my house with my family. We can't wait for Gabe to go. We are live.
I like the countdown.
Oh, it's glorious. Colonel, looking forward to it tomorrow. It's Gabe DeArmond every Friday here on 101 ESPN, brought to you by James Carlton. Thank you, Colonel.
Appreciate you guys, Tim. Enjoy your trip to Tuscaloosa, man.
Yeah, thank you. Surprise trip. Yeah, sweepstakes. I won a sweepstakes on Power Mizzou. There it is. Gabe DeArmond, brought to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. We'll take a commercial break, come back with the Little Piddles Friday six-shooter.
Yeah, we got some 6-shooter stuff. We're going to pick some games.
Oh, boy. One of us might go 2-4.
If we're
Best
lucky.
case scenario.
Yeah, we might push on one.
Right, fair enough.
And then who's grifting?
Who's grifting? We got a big second half of the show coming up. This is Balloon Party, 101 ESPN.
This is Action Jackson with a SportsCenter update. Driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues win last night in Toronto, defeating the Maple Leafs 5-1. The final score. The Blues are back in action tomorrow night as they take on the Montreal Canadiens. You can catch that game right here on the home of the Blues, 101 ESPN. Pregame at 5 p.m., puck drop at 6 p.m., and Game 1 of the World Series will be playing live right here on 101 ESPN this evening as the Dodgers go up against the Yankees. You can catch that right here on 101 ESPN. Pregame at 6 p.m., first pitch 6:30. That was our SportsCenter update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at Londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Welcome back, Balloon Party 101 ESPN. We're celebrating a 5-1 Blues victory here on this program. At least 50% of the show is. Really more like 99.9% of it.
Da-na. Yeah, well, all the talent is celebrating it.
I agree with that.
While the unskilled labor element of it is...
Boy, right there, it's a shot at the hardworking blue-collar men and women of this country, and I'm not going to stand for it.
I do the unskilled labor.
No, I know that, but I don't appreciate it.
Well, that's fair.
I think you just say, yeah, you are really talented, Tim. Thank you. Now, don't move too fast. I got to hold on to your coattails.
And in Van 2-1, you're right, Tim. You are so talented. Please don't run too fast. I can't keep a grip on these coattails.
Nice, that'll be good. We'll use that for a promo.
Feeling
Jackson, now what are we going to pick games? And then we got Who's Grifting? I mean, what a big 19 minutes we have left on this presentation.
It's going to be fun. All right, let's kick it off with the game. And a lot of the good...
Has anybody done better than 2-4 on this nitwit segment?
You went 500 last week.
Woo, woo!
With the Missouri push, yeah, you went 500, beating me. So, maybe not covering the juice, but, you're not losing money. All right, Mizzou at Alabama, 2:30 kick. Mizzou is getting 18 points.
I will take Alabama.
I am also on Alabama.
I don't like it. I hope to be 0-1.
I pray I'm 0-1. Oh, although, if they're going to lose, you might as well lose by the spread,
You couldn't handle Alabama field goal with zeros. What would happen to you if that happened? Missouri's leading by 2. Alabama completes a 40-yard first down. Time running down. DeBoer gets the touchdown. There's a second. The timeout. DeBoer gets the timeout. They're going to have time for a 49-yard field goal. This field goal will determine whether or not Missouri or Alabama stays in the college football playoff race.
I think I would get physically ill. Like, I wouldn't be able to watch football for 10 to 14 days. Like, I would just, even watching the NFL the next day would just not have the same pop. And the bye week, I would be in really bad shape. If they just get smoked, I saw that happen at College Station. I can live with that. But to tease me like that, because then the season's over, even after the A&M game, you still had a glimmer of hope somehow. That would kill me.
Okay. There it is.
ILL. Heading to Eugene, Oregon, the Autzen Zoo with a 2:30 kickoff. Illinois is getting 21 points.
I'm going to take ILL in the 21.5.
You and I are 2 for 2 in the same picks.
Oh, crap.
I feel like it's a little square.
To take ILL?
Getting 3 touchdowns and they're a ranked team. People are going to be like, well, I think they're going to lose, but maybe not by 21. And Oregon had the same thing with Oregon State, where they should have been favored by way less. They were favored by a lot. I said something's fishy, and they crushed Oregon State.
This is Brett Bielema's time.
Yeah. I'm riding ILL. I'm riding.
Plus, I got that Missouri and Illinois money line parlay. My $10 bet that pays $587. What?
Yeah. Notre Dame. MetLife Stadium taking on Navy at 11 a.m. Notre Dame is laying 14 points. 14-point favorites for the Fighting Irish.
I think Notre Dame wins. I don't think they cover. I'm taking Navy.
Fair. I have picked against Notre Dame, much to the dismay.
Anti-Irish, anti-Catholic.
And it has yet to work for me. I just maybe am still clouded by that Northern Illinois game. I'll take Notre Dame in the 2-touchdown spread.
Wow.
I'm going to take the Irish. I watched a little of their game. They looked so much better than when they played A&M.
Interesting.
And won, and look way better, obviously, than when they played Northern Illinois. I will take the Fighting Irish. I still don't think they should be in the CFP, but whatever. Texas heading to Nashville?
Oh, wow. A Jim Dandy against Diego Pavia in the Commodores. Hello again, everybody.
We got a 3:15 kick in Nashville. Texas is laying 18 points against the 25th ranked Vanderbilt Commodores.
Who's Texas's best win?
I guess at Michigan.
Guess. Who's the best offense the Longhorns have faced?
Poof.
I'll answer it for you.
Is it Utsa?
Mississippi State?
Yeah, oh, God.
I'm not about the name on the front of the jersey. I'm all about the name on the back of the jersey. And that's why I'm such a great leader. And the name is Pavia. And it's Diego Pavia's time to do it again. Vanderbilt.
All right, Vandy covering 18. I'm going to be on Texas. I've picked every time that the Vandy, except last week, but this balloon's going to pop, and they haven't done it yet, so I'm just going to stay consistent. I will take Texas on a comeback game where they need to kind of do some work. I think Vandy party might be over.
All right, fair enough. Going to lose that one, too.
What might be the best game on the slate?
LSU and M?
A&M.
I love A&M.
At home against LSU. That
love A&M.
A little uncomfortable there.
Love it. I love it. I love the over on Georgia, Texas. Loved it. Shipped it.
Yeah. Well, depending on your book.
I loved Missouri against Texas A&M. I loved it. Shipped it, assuming you were getting 31.5.
Which I was.
And I love Texas A&M this weekend against that head coach who grinds on his recruits when they visit Baton Rouge.
Just like I think Vandy's balloon's going to pop, I think LSU is way overdue for that party to be over.
You're with me on this.
I am on A&M laying 1 point at home at night, 6:30 kickoff at College Station. LSU, who's been a house of cards all year. Maybe I'm way off because LSU played really good against Arkansas.
Maybe you're still focused on that USC opening weekend loss.
The South Carolina game is what's most confusing to me, but neither here nor there.
Maybe South Carolina's really good, eh?
They're the most confusing team in college. Them and Kentucky are the two most confusing teams.
Surrey's going to beat Alabama and lose in Columbia, South Carolina, and you're not going to come out for months like a bear.
Oh, worse. I'll be like a hermit crab. Last game.
Oh, I thought we already did 6.
Nope, this is the last one. Gabe mentioned at the end, Penn State at Wisconsin. Penn State is laying 6.5.
I will take Wisconsin. I love the Badgers. Might even buy the half point just to get me the 7.
Nice. I'm also on Wisconsin. Camp Randall at night.
If you love them so much, why do you got to buy the half point? I don't know. I don't have a good answer to that question. It's very fair.
Yeah, I like Camp Randall at night. I think Penn State is kind of. They played Illinois, but they didn't look great against Illinois. I'll take Wisconsin.
There it is. We're in lockstep on a lot of these. That's problematic. I think we only have 2 different ones.
Yeah, actually, we only have 1 different one.
Navy, Notre Dame?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're on Navy.
Of course, I was right. Amazing. All right, we got Who's Grifting on the other side of the break. This is Balloon Party, 101 ESPN. Underdog is the place to play if you're a sports fan looking to win money while watching sports. With over 5 million happy players and $2 billion won, Underdog makes it fun and easy to cash in on all of your favorite athletes' performances. And with their Champs game, you could win money by making entries on your favorite players and competing against other Underdog players. That's right. It's Underdog. I made a play last night on a higher total for Jordan Addison.
I rode with you.
Did you? I'm sorry.
It's okay. Hey, listen.
He just isn't really getting the opportunities.
No.
Sam Darnold doesn't trust him,
When you got Jay Jettas there, man.
I know. And Munt. And Aaron Jones is getting pass plays. That was brutal. But either way, here you go. This season, Underdog will be running a special promo or bonus almost every single day, like Profit Boost. Pump up your winnings in just a tap when you apply the boost to eligible entries. Discounts, you'll get adjusted projections on certain players' stats to give you a better shot at a big W and a free pick. They're basically a sure thing. A player just has to get higher than 0.5 for that selection to win. Plus, all new users get a free pick. Download the Underdog app, sign up with promo code PARTY, and deposit now to get up to $1,000 in bonus cast instantly. There's promo code PARTY. Must be 18 or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. It's Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Timothy Michael McKernan, Jackson Bennett Burkett with you on the program. Jackson, this is your chance to shine bright like a diamond at 10:53. It's time for Who's Grifting.
It's time for
Who's Grifting? Who's Grifting? Who's Grifting? Who's Grifting?
It's an AI Open.
It is.
It's not a studio.
It is it is AI on the Who's Grifting voices. It took me upwards of 50 to 150 seconds to make it,
Wow.
and I'm proud of it.
Kind of a brag.
It is kind of a brag.
All right, Jackson, who's grifting this week?
Well, Tim,
The game is what?
the game is somebody who says things or some things that they probably do not believe, and it's helping them build their career, get more engagement. Engagement farming, grifting are they're similar, but there's a special kind of little flair to grifting that really sticks you. Now, I have a negative one today, and I have a very positive one today.
Right.
So we're going to start with the negative one and end on a positive note.
Yep.
The first one is which grifter just 4 days ago, Tim, October 21st, said, in regards to the WNBA, expanding to a 7-game series next season, lost $40 million, expanding franchises, don't have enough players for current 12 teams, hate their meal ticket, worst run league in the history of American sports. And then 4 days later said, actually, the WNBA is better and more compelling than the NBA. Of course, he just said that this is the worst run league in the history of American sports.
I feel like I'm going to go with this answer quite often, so it could be a trap. Clay Travis.
He works for him. Or works in a similar...
Jason Whitlock.
It's better than the NBA.
Jason
Because
Whitlock?
the players are. I know how bad it is. I know how unskilled the players are. It's better than the NBA. Because those women actually care. They're actually competing against each other.
The same person.
So 4 days earlier, he said it was the worst?
He posted a clip of, not the best basketball I've seen for a 50-second clip of the WNBA. You can find plenty of that in the NBA. Matter of fact, his replies were filled with
you
it.
could probably find like a 50-second clip of this show.
Yeah, exactly. And then, yes, he finished that tweet saying worst run league in the history of American sports 4 days later, said it's better and more compelling than the NBA.
How about this? Christopher McKinney in the YouTube chat says, WTF is grifting. And then Biff Henderson says it's what Jackson does daily. Wow. Biff Henderson from the Letterman Show.
Listen, you call it out, you're going to get it back. That's just how it goes. I get it. It doesn't bother me. I trust my process. Shout out to Joel Embiid, who's honestly doing himself a little grifting up in Pennsylvania right now. But I feel good. And I want to finish with a positive one.
Okay.
Something I think everybody can get behind because this was...
But it's a grift?
This grift was going on for a long time, and they're finally putting an end to it. The Federal Trade Commission announces final click-to-cancel rule, making it easier for consumers to end recurring subscription and membership.
Take that, browsers.
It has to be as easy to cancel as it was to sign up. No longer do you have to go on the phone to talk to somebody in another country who will pass you to 13 different people to cancel a subscription for a reoccurring website or membership. Not anymore. It has to be just as simple to delete your membership as it was to sign up in the first place, and I think that's the greatest. Because as someone who works in media and you have to subscribe
This isn't Who's Grifting. This is your soapbox.
Well, I think that the businesses were grifting forever.
I understand.
And then they were putting an end to it.
I was going to hear like Stephen A. Smith or Mad Dog. But this is just Jackson supporting the United States of America.
Which
has to be tough for you.
I know, but so for so long, as someone who had to subscribe to a bunch of different publications for work or whatever, and it was always so hard to cancel it. So easy to sign up, but so hard to cancel it. And now that's not going to be allowed. And I just think that's an amazing thing for the American consumer.
Watch this. Ain't that America?
Yeah.
For you and me. Ain't that America? We're something to see. John Cougar Mellencamp, Little Pink Houses.
And we'll see him tomorrow.
You and me.
We'll see him tomorrow in Bloomington.
Right at this moment, he's picking the Hoosiers against the Huskies. Is that what's going on?
Absolutely. Have to. I wonder if Lee Corso's there, what would he put on? I guess the overalls thing, like what they do at the basketball games?
Oh, you're talking about to represent the Hoosier.
Right. because I don't know, like, if
Don't do it. I know you're tempted to say something. I'm not going to. I'll cut your mic.
I wasn't, but now I am.
I'll cut your mic.
I'm going to leave on a positive note with the thing about the FTC.
You're going to bring people together.
I think it's a good thing. I really think it's great because I've gone through that, and it's hell. It sucks when you have to try to cancel something and they make it so hard. Ugh.
That's a step in the right direction,
I'd say.
All right, Jackson, that was a unifying message.
I'm trying to,
Ladies and gentlemen, BK and Ferrario are coming up next. Time for us to shut it down. For Jackson Bennett Burkett, I'm Timothy Michael McKernan. This has been Balloon Party on 101 ESPN.